According to YouTube, we are now live. So welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast live version. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, welcome back. We missed you. It's about to go down. So as per usual, this is kind of like the behind the scenes. If you notice, I'm not in my normal place. I'm down here in beautiful Columbus, Georgia, taking care of some business along with some other people. And I'm back with my co-captains, Derek and Nate. And so we're about to go. You guys, you ready to record?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Coming to you guys in 3, 2. Ladies and gentlemen and everyone in between, this is your boy BK. It's on once again, Patron once again. It is the Play Away Podcast, episode 30. I mean, I can't even explain to be able to say that number legitimately. We've recorded over 30 episodes, but to now be able to say sequentially 30, it feels so good. It feels that damn good. And to share this moment along with my co-captains.
And it feels so good.
Exactly. That's my co-captain, Derek.
I'm over here aloe blacking it because it feels so good. Corrupting the system, you already know.
And Nate.
That's me. And I'm happy that we didn't give the Cleveland Browns their first win.
Oh, is that the Packers there?
Yeah.
Man.
Playoff hopes are alive. Aaron Rodgers is supposed to come back next week.
Woo-hoo!
So NFC's it's a tough conference, so who knows if we can even get a playoff or a wild card playoff spot. So we'll see.
Who's tough in the NFC? Who's tough in the NFC? It ain't the Eagles. It ain't the Eagles. Even though I want the Eagles to go all the way to the Super Bowl just so they can lose again. Yes, spoken from a true hardcore Cowboy fan. I hate the Eagles, all these things that they represent. I want them to go to the Super Bowl and lose again like they did last time to the Patriots. I don't care who they lose to, but it'll probably be the Patriots because
man. So before we go any further, we do want to give an additional shout out to our guest from this past week, Jay Daniel of Jay Daniel Photography and Design. That was an amazing episode, fun little deep dive episode where we went back into episode 29, called it 29.5, and kept that whole feeling alive. So Derek, man, you're corrupting the system really inspired a whole nother episode, man. How do you feel about that?
I feel great about this because, as we know, it's difficult for my ego to fit into the size of any sort of container. So just to know that some of my choices on my personal top 10 worst, and if you guys haven't listened to episode 29.5, you were definitely doing yourself a disservice. These two legends that discussed this, BK and Jay, they went into detail as of how it makes sense why one movie can be somebody's treasure while another movie can be somebody's trash. And I appreciate you guys going into detail about it and just knowing that there may have been some seasoning with corrupting the system, but I feel that you also saw the logic behind it.
Oh, absolutely.
Where expectations and everything that you – yeah, so it was really enjoyable. I thank you guys for doing what you did. I told you, man, I woke up bright and early in the morning to hear that all over again. So that was
Find me another podcast. And speaking of another podcast, early in the morning, find me another app.
And if y'all don't know what band that is, y'all sleep. Y'all don't know who the Gap Band is? Man, you're too young for this, bro.
And speaking of,
if she don't know about the Gap Man, she's too young for you, bro.
Too young for you, bro. And speaking of corrupting the system's ego being too big to fit into one small episode, we're actually, in addition to the deep dive, which is kind of something that I'm going to be doing later in the week to extend what we got going on so that this conversation can be extended the player way. We are actually experimenting with something called Corrupting the System Radio, a shorter podcast that is going to be launching in 2018 alongside the existing brand. So you can expect a few things every single week to keep you guys coming back. And the reason why we're doing this is an answer. We actually legit, thanks to all of you guys that listen, subscribe, and give ratings on iTunes, we were actually ranked at within the top 10 of film and television podcasts on iTunes. We only were able to sustain that for a few hours, but to get there at any period of time, it's worth it. It doesn't matter if you last 30 seconds or 30 minutes. If you made it with the prettiest girl in the school, you still made it. All right, it still counts.
Inch or mile, winning is winning.
Exactly.
An inch or a mile. Hey, can you say you have a top 10 podcast? I can say that. I can say it legitimately thanks to these two cohorts.
Exactly. So we want to keep that content coming. And if you ever have any feedback, you can always email us at playerwaypodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's playerwaypodcast@gmail.com. And we will either read your email or we will make some changes if the content is given to us.
The Player Way.
I got that assist. That's what's up. All right. So speaking of assists, before we get into the major story of the week, which is Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about what our expectations are, what we've kind of heard, and what we think the box office draw is going to be inside of the Gentleman's Bet. We want to talk a little bit about Disney in a different capacity. Basically, the story of the moment is Disney's buyout of Fox. I mean, it's been speculated for several weeks. We already knew earlier this summer that Disney was about to do something major as they are looking into doing their own streaming service. But none of us expected that this idea that the X-Men universe that 20th Century Fox owned would possibly be becoming a part of this Avengers MCU universe. So, guys, I mean, how close do you think we are to this thing?
I mean, rumors say that we'll hear something next week, or I guess technically this week, something official. So here's hoping, honestly. $60 million $60 billion, I think, for the film rights to Fox. Or Fox's film.
I just want to say that one of my favorite things that I keep hearing, and it's something that Nate said last week, is that I keep seeing almost this exact same byline. Even if you Google Disney Fox deal, it's one of the top bylines on there, where a Disney Fox deal could solve the MCU's villain problem. And Nate really specifically spoke to this, where he was more interested in Fantastic Four because Doom in an Avengers MCU,
and Magneto.
Yes, that's
Sinister.
Real villains who have
Sentinels,
who have
Master
diabolical plans for the planet.
Omega Red.
Yeah,
I'm telling
you. Kang the Conqueror, Annihilus, so you can have the Annihilation Conquest. Yeah.
The Phoenix Force.
Unfortunately, we're gonna probably get a shitty Phoenix movie next year, which is
Super Skrull, even though it's a part of that whole Fantastic Four universe, Super Skrull is owned by some obscure company, right? Not Fox, right?
I think that has to do with the Fantastic Four rights, which the company is like Constantine Films, which has, an agreement with Fox, but I think they own the actual properties.
And it's like, and in particular, I want to say, I wish I had that Venn diagram. There was this Venn diagram that talked about all of the, Venn diagram for Marvel movies. Yeah, but there was like this Venn diagram that talked about Super Skrull, and I want to say Super Skrull was like in its own thing. So Universal Pictures owns Neymar, Sony Pictures owns Spider-Man, Marvel Studios owns all of stuff that we already know about in the MCU. Of course, Scarlet Witch is Quicksilver overlap. Yeah, and then 20th Century Fox has Deadpool, Wolverine, Cable, X-Men, Silver Surfer, and Fantastic Four. But then I'm trying to find where Super Skrull is.
It would be nice to see a cool Galactus, a real Galactus.
Oh yeah, even then, like that, rather than a fucking cloud, some sort of.
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah,
I really want Doom. That's the only. Yeah, you can build an entire phase off of Doom. Yeah,
absolutely, I agree with that 100%.
Not a Christian Troy, Dr. Doom.
I could even see like a Fantastic Four movie ending with the creation and full understanding of what Doom is, decimating the Fantastic Four, and then they're having to go to the Avengers for help.
Yeah, I wouldn't want Doom to be the villain of like the first Fantastic Four movie. No.
I think that's the biggest mistake that they ever made.
My dream casting would be you guys know who Armie Hammer is?
Oh yeah, of course.
You know, like just watching him in The Social Network being like the Winklevoss twins, you know, that's sort of like, I know I'm smart, but I'm really jealous that you beat me to it. That sort of. Oh yeah. I think he'd be a great Doom. Yeah.
I think so too. You know, Armie Hammer has been in a lot of conversations, and we're going to come back to this Disney buyout thing for a second. But Armie Hammer was, you know, it's been resurfacing about this Justice League Mortal movie. Have you ever heard about that?
Yeah, he was cast as Batman. It was supposed to be directed by George Miller. He was cast as Batman. The villain was going to be Maxwell Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sadly, it never got off. I mean, George Miller is a great director.
Well, what's crazy about this film is if you've ever seen if you ever seen that Justice League, there's like a Justice League. I don't know if it's Justice League War or there's some sort of Justice League animated film that it is exactly. Oh, it's the one where Batman has like it's the one that starts off with Martian Manhunter burning up because of the whole oxygen thing. You know what I'm talking about? There was some Justice League movie that came out, and the whole premise of it was that Batman had everyone's weaknesses. That was
oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then like the first Justice League member that gets subdued is Martian Manhunter because his weakness is fire. And like he goes out to this bar and he's actually like in his normal everyday, like he's like this black dude. And he goes out on a date with some chick and she like wastes his drink on him and he burns up and he goes off into the ocean and he's inside the ocean still burning. And so like that's like the thing that Batman had like on his laptop that Talia al Ghul had gotten into, and that's where Lord comes in, that he had absconded those details from him. But it's really kind of crazy that Armie Hammer is just coming out like it came out like on November 30th on comicbook.com where he talks about his role and how he was supposed to be playing Batman, and basically because of the pre-Christian Bale, the idea came out before the Dark Knight Rises came out, but because of when Dark Knight Rises came out, they had to scrap Justice League Mortal. But I mean, plot-wise, it would have been way better than what we've seen.
I just think it was due to financial. Like they wanted to film, you know, he's Australian, George Miller. I mean, he wanted to film in Australia. They couldn't cut a deal with, I think, Australia itself to get tax breaks, and that sort of shut the whole production. This was, I want to say, 10 years ago.
Yeah, and it was
supposed to film,
and it was going to end with like the Flash sacrificing himself. It's crazy. It's really crazy that we never got to see this. It really.
I could still remember the cast too, most of them. I think Flash was supposed to be Adam Brody.
It was Adam Brody
from the OC.
Common was supposed to be
John Stewart. Yeah. No Name for Wonder Woman. And then Jay Baruchel was supposed to be Maxwell Lord, which I don't know. I don't know if I exactly agree with
so
that.
It's interesting to hear like these kinds of stories to come out about DC development hell. Meanwhile, Disney is out here spending the big bucks after winning on buying their competition up. And what was cool, just to kind of show you how lighthearted everything is on the Marvel side, Chris Evans tweeted out on December 6th, so who do I talk to about the Cap Human Torch buddy comedy spinoff film? I'm thinking Planes, Trains, Automobiles meets Parent Trap. I mean, I just love that like we live in a world where these things could actually possibly happen someday very soon.
Yeah.
Derek, how are you feeling about all this, man? I feel like you're like mind is blown from the conversation.
No. I was trying to think. I was like, where that image of Justice League Mortal, like the documentary on what could have been or something like that, and I just can't remember what platform I saw it on, and I was trying to look it up, and I just couldn't remember.
Oh no, yeah. Well, the thing is, the Justice League Mortals. There's been a lot of different videos about it. Army Hammer only recently came out and really started talking about it and really giving, like, just spilling the beans about what he was going to be doing and how his version of Batman was going to be. So, but the name of it, the movie was going to be Justice League Mortal.
Yeah. Like, yeah. I guess I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I just caught it because that image of where it has like cape or something like that, and I just thought maybe I came across the documentary, but maybe it was a story. But like I said, that's why I was trying to look it up in the background. Where I don't know if it was just.
If it sounds familiar to you, there was an actual either a Justice League Unlimited episode or it was an actual animated film that frame for frame is all of the stuff that we were talking about that would happen in Justice League Mortal. But if you are definitely interested in looking it up and you're listening to this, you want to know more about what Justice League Mortal, there's a ton of content out. Just go on YouTube. You can look at Comic Book Cast. You can look at Variant is another really cool one. Bleeding Cool has some stuff. But yeah, there's tons of information out there about it. And it's weird to live in a time where movies can go that far and just never happen. And yet the concepts in these films that never happen are better than the films that actually end up making it to the theaters.
Well, I think this was a story of identity crisis from the comics. I think that was a storyline.
Let me see.
That's not. I think they did make an animated film that sought inspiration from it, but the actual storyline with like Maxwell Lord and then Wonder Woman kills him at the end.
Right.
They find out Batman's been keeping tabs on all the heroes and how to stop them. And they get pissed off. It's almost like a breaking up of the league.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's actually several storylines where it comes out that Batman had everyone's weaknesses. Oh, you know what? That could be Injustice, the first Injustice.
No, there was a actual like in continuity storyline.
Okay. Well, cool. All right. Well, there you go with that. Like I said, Disney's buyout. It should be. We should be getting the finalized details this week if it's going to happen. Do you guys see any chance that is not going to go through?
There's always a chance. Yeah. Comcast was trying to buy the film division as well. So I mean, we'll see.
I'm pretty. Yeah. I mean, I get as Nick said. There's always a chance. There's always that one person who's I'm not giving up my ground. I don't care how many millions of people want to see it. Talks, and it's Disney's playground in the entertainment industry right now. And as I mentioned last week with pop movie formulas, Disney has it. They've been doing it for 80 years. And now they have makers right now where they can turn out superhero movies every 3 years money and still market it and still sell it at Disneyland and Halloween. And come on, man. You know what the world runs on. Money talks, man.
Absolutely. Again, we're completely speculating here, but we at the Playaway Podcast have a really good track record of doing our research. We do have a team of writers who do look into things, and we do talk about it on a week-to-week basis. Exactly. Here's according to Nerdist.com. Here's a quote. According to Deadline, Marvel's Kevin Feige is particularly eager to get his hands on the X-Men and bring them into the MCU. Feige was a producer on the first 3 X-Men movies and the first 2 Fantastic Four films as well. Integrating those characters into Marvel's continuity would be a homecoming for him in particular and offer some enticing possibilities and challenges. That was taken from Nerdist.com, an article about Disney Fox merger MCU future. So, I mean, we're really close, man. I'm really ready. My body is ready for this to happen. We need the Inhumans to have some sort of substitute because we need that type of storyline to be relegated.
I'm pretty sure Bonesaw is also ready.
Bonesaw is ready. Exactly. So anyway,
Bonesaw is ready.
Man, you know who else is ready? Snoke is ready to come back.
I'm ready.
And show Rey the business, because The Last Jedi is finally up on us. According to Derek, you said that we have someone out in, we have a contact out there in Hollywood at the premiere.
That is 100% correct. I shall keep my sources tight-lipped, but I will say a Sphinx has reported to a heroic act. Actually, someone in the Star Wars, someone on the pretty high up noticed this and went to this person. They have a whole cosplay troupe there at this particular event. Person saved somebody else's life, invited them, their whole clique out there to actually Star Wars premiere. Of course, they all have to sign to talk about certain things, but we have third row pictures of all the everybody there signing autographs and everything, and they got to see this already. I believe this was last night, where they've already got to see The Last Jedi. And I'm going to have some more details on that article coming up later on today. So I appreciate Freedom on that.
Thank you. Absolutely, Derek. The first impressions of Star Wars The Last Jedi are amazing. In fact, the headline ripped straight from the headlines, io9.gizmodo.com. The first impressions for Star Wars The Last Jedi are overwhelmingly good. According to Julie Muncie, she wrote an article today. According to her, last night, the Hollywood premiere of Star Wars The Last Jedi marked the first time anyone outside of Disney and Lucasfilm got a chance to see Rian Johnson's long-awaited 8th mainline Star Wars film. Now the responses have flooded from social media from attendees, and they're all good. Again, this is taken from io9.gizmodo.com, and some of the so here I'm just going to read some of the tweets. Star Wars The Last Jedi is everything: intense, funny, emotional, exciting. It's jam-packed with absolutely jaw-dropping moments, and loved it so much. I'm still shaking. Another one, Luke was right. It's not going to go the way you think. The Last Jedi will shatter you and then make you whole again. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about this. Another one, The Last Jedi is absolutely fantastic, gripping, touching, funny, and powerful, with gorgeous shots of the most badass battles. When it gets going, holy crap, does it get going. Hands down, the best Star Wars movie since Empire. That's saying something.
I don't really have any doubt it will be, honestly.
Like, yes. I'm going to podcast right here in Dallas, Texas, and go on record when we get to those numbers and predict my highest box office number ever. Buy it. Wait to see what we can do. And this is one of the rare occurrences, just to kind of give you a call back dive and what we talked about. And this is one of the rare occurrences where my are at perfection levels, and I don't expect anything less than perfection from this movie. Nothing less. Anything less than perfection outside of picking whatever. Oh, I didn't like the color of this person's left shoe. Outside of that, I expect this. So my levels are high. I know it's going to be good acting, special effects. Like this is the business right here. And I look forward to just having that feeling that the generation before went to go see this in the theaters. You know what I mean? They didn't see this, but groundbreaking. I know we sensitized to these type of movies because that was the formula. It would probably be part of maybe the largest box office opening weekend ever in the movie. That's going to be something pretty cool. That's really incredible.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about this and you go back to what everyone said about The Force Awakens, the biggest criticism, and I 100% agree with this, is while I get what they were trying to do with kind of making sure that everything comes full circle, it was pretty much a rehash of A New Hope. And so it doesn't have a ton of replay value because outside of like those initial scenes with Kylo Ren, everything seems to be very predictable and it all seems to fall into place similarly to what has been done before. What everyone has been hoping is that it's true to the source material, but is a complete departure from everything that we've seen before. My concern is when everyone says that it's better than Empire, I'm really worried that everyone is going to, because when The Last Jedi, I mean, not The Last Jedi, but when The Force Awakens came out, everybody says it's the best one since Episode 4, A New Hope. And what people really meant is it reminds me big time of A New Hope. I hope that when people are saying that this is better than Empire, it's not because it reminds them of Empire.
Yeah, you want it to actually be better than Empire.
Yeah, like we don't need a big, like the temptation is to have some big reveal that somebody is someone's father. I'm going to be very upset if we get that moment in this film because it's not important unless it's a Palpatine. Now, if it's a Palpatine, I'm on board with that.
I'm starting to believe that her parents are just going to be nobodies. It's not going to be any well-known character.
Wait a minute. You think her mom gave birth to her from the midichlorians in the universe?
Through immaculate conception.
In the Force. Virgins in the Force.
I would almost like I don't need her backstory to be tied into these characters that we already know. You know, like she can exist solely or separately from the Skywalkers. You know, she doesn't need to be a Kenobi. She doesn't need to be this. Like, just have her be an old, you know, different fan. Then you can set up a whole different lineage of characters, things like that.
Yeah. I think if Snoke comes out to be Palpatine, that's the only reveal that I would be kind of satisfied with. That being said, if they come out with something completely different, I will replay this exact moment and make a whole episode about how twists and turns can make a movie scrumptious. Because I don't know how anything could be more surprising.
Or a hot mess. Or a hot mess.
Or hot mess, guys. Derek, I know you're ready to take a steaming squat right over this film if they give you anything less than perfection.
The thing is, I really enjoyed The Force Awakens, but it was exactly like as you said. I just watched a newer version of A New Hope. I mean, I was side by side because it was almost the same film to me. It was just the updated version. They took out what maybe didn't work in the other one, and they just made a newer, cooler version of it. So I don't necessarily, as you mentioned, perfectly being in symbiosis with that. I don't. The Empire Strikes Back / to see The Last Jedi. That's what I want to see. Take the 30 years of movie history that you have with this and make a great film. The material is there. The technology is here. Together, Disney, there is no reason for this coming weekend and this not to be one of the greatest movies. There's no reason for it not to be.
I kind of almost want everyone who is on the side of the light to defect to the dark side, and then Luke has to come out of retirement for the third film, I guess it would be the 9th film. Is that right? Yeah. For the 9th film to actually be the Last Jedi, to actually have to fight the fight himself and put it to bed one last time. I would be 100% cool with that. Because then the last one could give you that kind of Logan, like the end of an era type of feel.
Oh, what, 2 Hugh Jackmans? One good, one bad.
I knew somebody was Logan after that. But no, like, I do, like, I want, I just want things to be so messed up. I just want things to be so messed up. I want Kylo Ren to feel so terrible about what he did to his dad that he comes, like, I hope so much for this film. I'm just gonna say that. I hope so much for this film.
I'm just excited we're going to get a true sequel to seeing what happens to Luke. You know, I mean, that's something we've been wondering since the end of Return of the Jedi. And you get a little taste of it in The Force Awakens, but now we'll really see, like, you can see how he screwed up with trying to train Kylo. I think Luke goes bad. I think he might go dark side.
You think he was Snoke all along, and that's why
No, I don't think he's Snoke, but I think.
Oh, did I make a prediction?
I don't think he's Snoke, but I think we're going to see a man that's broken. You know, this is a man that tries to rebuild the Jedi by himself, fails miserably, and probably sits there and wonders, like, why am I trying to do this? You know, like, why am I not embracing what can be? You know, that's
my DNA.
Yeah.
Derek
wishes that evil empire that he created. He needs
Derek. I need your help. It's time for.
I would love
theory.
But what if?
But what if? But what if it's a conspiracy?
What do you think, man? What's your conspiracy? Do you think he's been?
My conspiracy theory is the reason why Luke didn't want anyone to find him in the first place, and why he was shocked for someone to find him, is because behind closed doors, he was actually Snoke, the hologram, the whole time.
And he's been broadcasting from
parts unknown,
Zealand the whole time.
From parts unknown, inside of the
green bastard from parts unknown.
Exactly. But anyway, moving all conspiracy theories aside, it's time for the gentleman's bet. Guys, the only thing I care more about watching the actual film is deciding what we're going to do if someone is completely wrong about this box office weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Any ideas?
Completely wrong. Office completely wrong.
Well, let's see where we end up. All right, so I think Derek, did you get to name yours last time? Or I think it was Nate actually.
When?
The last gentleman's bet that we made, I think Nate led off with his, and then Derek.
No, Derek went first.
Derek went first, and then
then me. Yeah.
Okay, so then Nate, we'll start with you then. Where is opening domestic weekend for The Last Jedi?
I think 220 million.
Okay.
I'll say 220. Yeah.
Okay. Derek?
215 and 220. I wanted to go with 220, but be right on Nate's curtails here. I guess I'll throttle it back to 215 then.
Okay. And I actually am going to say steady and strong at 200 right on the dot. So it's closest without going over. Price is Right rules.
100.
200 mil. 200 mil.
For you?
I don't think it's going to go over 200 mil. I think it's going to be like one.
Cool, 200 mil.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you're giving yourself a little buffer. All right.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. And reason being, this year, predictions have been fairly soft for most openings. So, in most cases, it's been soft. So I don't know opening weekend. It'll get there, of course, by Christmas. But I think the opening weekend, we're going to see it top out right just under 200. So that's why I'm saying 200.
200.
Yeah. And then you guys are saying what?
I went 220.
220 and
got 215.
All right. Are we just gonna do the drinking thing, or are we gonna sweeten the deal? I feel like
person that's
Satan,
the furthest off?
I feel like the toes of Satan need to be sucked upon.
None at
How
all.
how about the person that's furthest off, like dead last, has to reimburse the two of us our prices that we paid for our tickets?
I'm down with that. I can do that. That's
so that'll be what happens to the guy that's way off.
Okay, but what do we do for everybody who lost? So let's say it ends up at 225.
Oh, like last time.
That means we all lost. Yeah,
lost.
We got 225. We all lose. I feel like Derek and I have to do the Toe of Satan challenge if that happens.
Well, that's not even a challenge for you guys watching you guys do that the last time.
Oh, no, it's a challenge. When you go through it, it's a challenge. We just got to put it up on YouTube this time. Are y'all down with that?
I'm open, man.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. It's going down. All right. Well,
virtual shake on it.
Virtual shake on it, indeed. Man, I feel like we're all in like this weird like moment where we don't know what to do next. What I can say is we're getting close to ending this episode. The thing that I do want to round up this episode about is we're going into our next episode that we're going to talk about is it's going to be a part 2 where we actually talk about doing spoilers for The Last Jedi, and we're going to be coming out of that. But then we're also going to be talking about our top 10 movies of 2017, since we were kind of all over the place for our worst, which I think is okay for the worst. I think for the best, our movies of 2017 are reputations on the line. So I feel like we need to kind of have a powwow and let's talk about our standards for the best movies of 2017. Now, originally I was talking about only doing box office draw, but then there was a little conversation about doing Netflix features as well, Hulu features, that type of thing. I feel like we just need to keep it to box office draws. What do you guys think?
Well, including only just actual.
If some came out on Netflix really liked that, I would think that's fair game, as long as it came out this year.
The Will Smith movie, like the Will Smith movie coming out,
that bright that no one is gonna watch. I mean,
with the first orc on the.
I just feel like we all need a break from Will Smith. I feel like we kind of need to do our own thing for a little bit. I feel like he keeps like.
What? You've been getting too much Will Smith?
Look, I feel like Will Smith is doing the thing that we. When you're trying to teach somebody, when you try to teach somebody to not be a friend zone type of dude, and they keep making the same mistakes over and over, it's like, why do you keep texting her? Give her some time to breathe. Like, chill. I feel like Will Smith keeps coming back and is like, guys, I feel like you want me to be your box office hero. So let me do that for you. Like, no, like chill for a little bit. Like, go off and do like kind of like, you know, how Chevy Chase was like in everything, and then he just went missing for like almost 2 decades, it felt like. And then when he came back, it was awesome. I feel like Will Smith just needs to go missing for a good bit. Like, his kids are all in our face. His wife is on Gotham still, I guess. I mean, I feel like we just need some space.
All right. Let him do his own thing.
Yeah. What do y'all think?
All right.
I don't have an opinion.
See, that proves.
What are we? Some sort of Suicide Squad?
Oversaturated Will Smith.
Yeah. You know what it is? It's not that we have an oversaturation of Will Smith. We have an oversaturation of Will Smith making terrible choices and choosing roles. I just feel like
I'll watch Bright when it comes out. You know, I do enjoy David Ayer's movies other than fucking Suicide Squad. So
you're gonna watch it on opening day, huh?
Well, it's not going to take much effort to watch. I mean, I don't need to go anywhere.
Like it is going to take a lot of effort to watch it, though. That's my point. I feel like it's a moment.
Just put it on in the background. I mean,
isn't that how you watch all your movies? put it on.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah, and don't really, give about 40% of my attention to it.
I wouldn't know
it's not
anything
gonna take
about
much
that.
effort from me at all. I don't need to go anywhere. Yeah, he has made some shitty choices ever since. God, what's that one he did with his son, After Earth?
Yeah, and before that, he had some bad choices. I feel like he has more bad roles now than he has good ones.
I did enjoy Concussion, though. Concussion was good.
But I really didn't need Will Smith, though. I really didn't need Will Smith. It was a great film, but I didn't need him in it. Same thing with 7 Pounds. I felt like it was a good movie, but I don't want him in it. Like, I just feel like Will Smith is too loud. I feel like Will Smith is like, I feel like when he comes into the theater, whenever you see him on screen, he's like that really cool kid that never left town after high school, and he's just always around. Like every time you go to a house party with the new kids.
All right.
Hey, how y'all doing? Yeah, man. Yeah. Like Screech when he stayed around Bayside after it was all over with. It's just like, yeah, you were cool, but it would be cooler if you just didn't come back here anymore.
Man.
So like
I'm not gonna let you sit up here.
You're basically you're calling him Stifler, is what you're saying. He's Stifler.
Yes, that's him. That is Will Smith is Steve Stifler.
Still throwing house parties.
That's him, dude. Going streaking at the quad. I'm telling you, dude, that's Will Smith, dude. Dude, did you see Anchorman 2 in theaters?
Yeah, that was terrible.
Did you not groan when you saw Will Smith on the screen? Like, what are you doing here? Don Cheadle, maybe, but not you.
It's kind of actually, you know what? That movie coincidentally raises the same sort of point I feel for Jim Carrey as well. You know,
but
this was a man that's on top of the box office. But I feel like their careers they both dominated the box office, and now these years, like they just come out with shitty movies after shitty movie.
No, but see, I can't let you sit here and say that about Jim Carrey, because Jim Carrey has great performances. He did Andy Kaufman. He did.
That was 20 years ago, dude.
Actually, well, they revived. Actually, he had a recent thing where he goes back into
a Netflix
documentary.
But I mean, that performance can't be ignored. Like, it's not like Ali was that good. Ali was
the happiness was.
Here's the thing. Like Jim Carrey did his thing in the 90s. Jim Carrey did his thing in the 90s, and Will Smith barely got going in the 90s. Will Smith treated the early 2000s like his 90s, but right now he needs to be more like Jim Carrey and maybe be in a movie if it's something that's really going to be meaningful to him. Like you said, Will Smith's in these things. Like, why is Will Smith playing a cop next to an orc and hitting a fairy with the baseball bat in a robe while the hood is sitting in his front yard with the dude from Training Day talking about, yeah, man, stomp that. I don't know. I don't know why. I feel like it could have been Don Cheadle.
No,
it could have been Terrence Howard. No, but here's the thing. I don't like these fairies on my yard. Okay,
here's the thing. Will Smith is not the actor that Don Cheadle or Terrence Howard is. When you see Will Smith in a role, Will Smith is the black Tom Cruise. So Will Smith has to be very careful in choosing his roles the same way that Tom Cruise does. Tom Cruise is very careful about choosing roles that work. That being said,
for him.
Now, granted, The Mummy, I don't feel like The Mummy was his fault. I felt like The Mummy was Universal Pictures' fault, because they also had a fail with Dracula Untold, which was the actual first film in the universe, not Mummy. They tried to make you forget about Dracula Untold, which is actually not a bad film. But it's Will Smith is just not that damn good. Like, when it comes to being an actor, You've
seen Dracula Untold, though. Like, you've watched it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
The whole thing.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's right up there with Underworld, at least. Right up there with Underworld.
It's better than Underworld. Any Underworld movie. Shout out to Ian Townsend. Any Underworld movie is terrible. Ian loves those movies, and they are terrible. Every Underworld ever made is the worst film ever made. Terrible. It's like look, if Blade is Salisbury steak, Underworld is like that gravy drippings in the pan, and they put that together and make a nice roux with it, and that's supposed to be a good enough movie. But where's the steak?
Dracula Untold.
Where's the steak? Touche.
Like,
touche. I'll give it to you. But was it not okay? Have you seen Dracula Untold?
Yeah. I got it. It was $2 in the Blu-ray bin. It was $2 in the Blu-ray bin. So I went and got that up.
Look, you're so disrespectful. I'm gonna leave you alone.
It was in the same bin next to the Fantastic Four with Michael B. Jordan. So I want to see Chris Evans standing next to standing next to Michael B. Jordan in Black Panther talking about Johnny Storm. Can I see Michael B. Jordan talk to Chris Evans about Johnny Storm, please?
We kind of need to do the worst. I feel like this conversation is becoming inspiration for the worst comic book adaptations ever made. We got to do this at some point very soon. Like early 2018, we need to do that because we got a lot of stuff going on right in here, man. Woo. What have you guys been up to this week?
I mean, the first thing that jumped out to me was the 2011 Green Lantern already, so we already got definitely some material for this.
Well, what have you guys been up to this week, man? We like jump right into it, man.
I finished. I know a while back I was mentioned to you an anime that I watch on Netflix, Knights of Sidonia. I wrapped up season 2, and honestly, it's a damn good anime. And I did some research on it. Apparently, they are going to come out with a season 3, and I'm kind of pumping my brakes on it because if you watch season 1 and then if you completed season 2, like the ending of season 2 makes sense for it to be a nice bow-tied short anime series, because I feel like all good animes are there either like that 20, 25, maybe 30 episodes, or they're the route of Naruto and One Piece and just go on and on and on, be the anime that never ends. But this one is one of those, so it kind of leads me to believe it might be like the other one we discussed, Ajin, or those ones where they maybe are putting another season out there just to see what happens. I'm not really sure they need to, because the story it's honestly repetitive enough, but I do enjoy the animation. Polygon Pictures has really like stepped it up. Production that they're the type of animation artists that they're out there, especially with Ajin. That movie Blame that's on Netflix, it's pretty legit too. It's another anime one you want to check out. But Dragon Ball Super is coming right along. 12 minutes left in the tournament, but that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Man, Dragon Ball Super. I tried to watch last night's episode later last night, and I fell asleep during it. I think I did. It's. I feel like they need to go ahead and wrap it up. Like last night's episode was the first in a minute I kind of felt was kind of meh. How do you feel?
I watched it. It's like I appreciated it, but I also felt like they were just looking for a reason to have Piccolo drop out. They just needed to find something to get him off the stage.
Right.
All it is. Right. Just to bridge us to the fact that next week Goku and Vegeta will be Super Saiyan Blue next to each other. I feel like that's it, because we have 3 universes left. One of them we already know that the robots are going to combine and fight Goku and Vegeta, and then it's just going to leave Jiren, which seem to assume that it's going to be Ultra Instinct defense Goku and Ultra Instinct offense Vegeta versus Jiren, and that's where we're going to. I really feel that this rumor mill of this being stretched out to March is complete and utter hogwash and fodder, Titan fodder, if you will.
It needs to go ahead and get wrapped up. It's starting to get a little long in the tooth.
We need 5 more episodes and we can wrap all 12 minutes up, right? 5 more episodes. We can do this.
I feel like we can do it if we try. If we all hope, we all give our energy to the Toriyama company the same way that we do for the Genki Dama, I think we will. Exactly. Derek is doing the motion. We need to lend them all of our energy to kind of wrap it up, because it's getting kind of silly now. Like they built that.
Like we know that this is supposed to be the conclusion of the saga of Goku. Super is supposed to be the conclusion where they're bringing it all together. They've been doing it all season where they're giving us throwbacks to some of our favorite characters that we've been watching for the past 3 decades. And they've been sending off characters in specific ways. We can go ahead and wrap this up. I mean, we don't need any more fillers. You're right. We know what fight we're headed toward. Let's just go on and get there.
Yeah.
Let's just go on and get there.
Speaking of wrapping things up, Nate, what would you been up to this week, man?
Not much. I actually watched a few movies that I missed during the theatrical runs. Saw American Made, which was pretty good. Tom Cruise movie about him being
Oh, yeah,
sort
yeah.
of a smuggler while working for the CIA, White
Oh
House.
yeah, I heard that was good.
Kind of a crazy story.
Is it
Yeah,
good?
it was enjoyable. Yeah,
It's got that Wolf of Wall Street
I mean,
kind of feel to it.
kind of. Yeah, you know.
Nice.
I'm glad I didn't watch it in theaters, but I caught it at home. And
That's gonna be on my list
Man's
this week.
Bodyguard, that was kind of shitty.
Yeah, it looked like it was terrible. Like that, I feel like even the title is terrible.
Hitman's Bodyguard, the Ryan Reynolds,
yeah.
Sam Jackson.
Yeah.
Like if the hitman needs a bodyguard, he's probably not very good. Just like this movie.
The title invokes a lot of questions and plot holes immediately.
If I were Ryan Reynolds, I'd be worried about Disney buying Fox because I think that would be the end of Deadpool. And without Deadpool, honestly, Ryan Reynolds kind of makes shitty movies.
That
Yes, Ryan Reynolds. Your
Yes.
career summed up in one statement. Without Deadpool, you make
he will make
and
he
let's
will
be
make
real, Fox
Yeah.
needs Deadpool. Disney doesn't need Deadpool. You know,
There you go. There you go. Exactly. I mean, I feel like Ryan Reynolds without that will go back and make Waiting 4 or something like that. Waiting, he made that film. Like that's yes. This is Ryan Reynolds. I feel like Ryan Reynolds can always go back
the more
to DC.
successful version of Dane Cook.
Yes. I hate that you actually came out and said it because I was thinking it.
Did you just say DC? Did you just say DC?
Yes.
He is the more not to discredit Dane Cook because he did have a hell of a performance in as he played the Waffler, if you remember,
Mystery Men.
in Mystery Men.
Which that's actually like a cool. I thought that was a funny character. He actually did okay in Mr. Brooks as well. I don't know if you ever saw that. Mr. Brooks was actually a pretty good film. Kevin Costner as a serial killer and Dane Cook tries to exploit it.
Yeah.
And you want to exploit you and you want to blackmail this man? Good luck. Exactly. Well,
Nice.
to round things out, we talked a lot about films. We talked a little bit about Netflix and on-demand stuff. Oh, before I get into that, before I forget anything else, there's an amazingly charming series that just launched this past week on Amazon Prime. It is what is it called? The Amazing. What is it? Sorry. Amazing Mrs. Maisel. The Amazing Mrs. Maisel. I actually watched it with Rachel last night, a couple of episodes. Season 1 just came out. It's set in 1958 New York about this Jewish couple. And the wife is this lady who's been groomed to be the perfect wife. Like if you go back and watch Mad Men, the perfect wife in that era, she was groomed to be it. So it's like Mad Men, but told from a female perspective. And it's also about the beginning of stand-up comedy as we know it. And so Lenny Bruce, which if anyone knows anything about Dave Chappelle, Lenny Bruce is someone who inspired Dave Chappelle to go into comedy to begin with. The father of modern comedy is what he's been, stand-up comedy is what he's been called. And he's actually a character on this film. And so it's actually a great film, a great show, actually. Awesome music. It takes all of the stuff that you loved about Mad Men and brightens it up just a little bit. Really funny. It's got some nudity in there. It's got cussing. It's got all of the stuff that we want, that dirty grittiness that men need to be able to watch a film like this. But then it's all got all the music and the perspective that females need. So it's a great series to watch with your girlfriend or your significant other. I highly recommend it. It is on Amazon Prime right now. Yeah, absolutely. So there you go on that. Man, we covered a lot of ground. Like I said, we didn't get a chance to get to too many video games this year, this episode, but this time of year, video games is something important to talk about because it is Christmas time and people are going to be watching it, but we still got you covered the player way. If you go on to playlifeyourway.com, a review for Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, was done by Jonathan Barron. There's also Darksiders 3 release date information, as well as Soul Calibur 6, one of my favorite game franchises, information there as well. So if you don't understand how to do video games and television and movies
the player way
at the end of this episode, then I don't know what to tell you. Grab a whole thing of baby powder, sprinkle it on your hand, and slap the shit out of yourself, because it's going down. We covered a lot of ground, y'all. We covered a lot of ground.
Oh,
man, I feel I'm spent. I don't feel like there's anything else to talk about. I feel like stick a fork in it.
He's already starting to fall asleep. I mean, he's done.
So we're just gonna wrap this thing up like this, like a split hog. Shout out to my co-captains Nate, and Derek.
I'm just wondering, how would one wrap up a split hog? I feel like there's a lot of material and cleanup needed if the hog is split. I mean, there's entrails. We got sinew.
Listen, I agree with you 100%. It is a strategic and.
Are we at a butcher? Are we at a butcher?
Listen, there's a lot of things you got to do, but luckily I'm gonna show you how to wrap it up like a split hog. I have been the resident DJ, your boy BK, on once again, Patron once again. It has been spilt all over the floor, but we're about to go on outside the door and have some more fun, like a wasted whore. But yeah. Exactly. We did it.
Sew her up in the mattress and check out of the hotel. Yes, sew her up in the mattress and get out of here.
Exactly. Well, thank y'all so much for coming back. Remember, no matter what path you take or what road you decide to follow, just make sure you're doing that shit the player way. If you want to help us out, if you enjoy the content that we're giving, do yourself a favor and go on the Play Your Way network at playlifeyourway.com. Click listen to the podcast. It'll take you to the network podcast of your choosing that you're using on that particular device. iTunes in particular, go on there. Give us a 5-star rating if you love us. And you can always email us at playyourwaypodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's playyourwaypodcast@gmail.com. If there's nothing else for the good of the order, Nate, help us out.
Peace out, Rabbit.
We'll see y'all next week.
I actually I saw that came on Netflix the other day, and that movie does not hold up too well.
What?
8 Mile.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. It was
what movie?
8 Mile. 8 Mile.
It just came on Netflix this month. Like,
the only good parts are the clips. The only good parts are the clips, man. The movie is weak.
The movie's weak. But what's crazy is, in great contrast, Get Rich or Die Trying actually does still have some replay value, because it has because it kind of retells what actually 50 Cent went through at that period of time. So
yeah, no, I really liked it.
Yeah, but 8 Mile for sure. Boy. 8 Mile for sure. It's interesting. Yeah, like the battles are great. It's just everything else about
that's what I'm saying. Those
Brittany Murphy, like when you watch that back at that time, that was hot. But like looking back at it now, you're like, ooh, that's kind of.
Yeah, man. Be like, I feel bad for Wink, man, because you know he got them drips messing with her on that studio board.
What you know about drips? Messing with
these bitches on my. That's how dudes be getting.
Exactly. Well, thank y'all so much for coming back this week, my co-captains, and as well as those who are watching. We did get a few people watching throughout, and if you are watching on YouTube, do yourself a favor and actually download the iTunes version. It's got our resident voice of the Octagon, veteran voice of the Octagon, if you will, Darren Marlar. He's our movie trailer guy, and he really helps tie everything together. So shouts out to everybody. Shouts out to yourself. Shouts out to everybody. And I'm shouted out. We'll holler at y'all next week. See you later, guys. Thank y'all.